Good morning, beautiful people, and welcome to Ray's Breakfast. Hashtag What Are You Saying? The show for the youth and the young at heart, where we dive into conversations that shape our lives and even our future. Let's start with your thought for the day. It says, education is a passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to people who prepare for it today. And these are the words of Malcolm X, and they couldn't be more relevant to what we're about to discuss today. My name is Oluchi Precious Omenka, and as always, I'm not on this ride alone. I've got my amazing co-anchors with me, the ever-thoughtful Chioma Kalu and the dynamic Triumph Akimbu. And together we'll be unpacking today's big question when it comes to education. Should the government push by force or persuade by trust? But before then, let's get to meet my amazing co-anchors this wonderful Tuesday morning. Good morning, girl.
Morning. How are you doing this morning?
Take a guess. How do you think I am doing this morning?
You are in between different things, like different emotions.
And this one, I know what answer. I want you to guess for me. Choma, how do you think I'm doing this morning?
You'd rather not be here.
Actually, I think I would be here because, I mean, the next 3 weeks is about to be an adventure for me. You get to find out if you're interested, just come to my DM and I'll let you in on all the juice. But I'm happy to be here at least before that adventure. So yeah, I'm doing great. The past few days has been a lot, but I'm glad to be right here on the set. How are you doing, Triumph? Triumph looking more beautiful than usual. Not like you've been ugly. Please.
She looks better than I thought she would turn out this morning.
Take a guess.
I'm just saying.
I know what she meant. So what you're saying is different from what she's saying. But anyways, beyond all what you're saying, I'm here really looking beautiful.
I love the hair. It's really nice on me.
Thank you.
It's giving African, modern, classy,
okay.
you know. How about you, Choma? What are you up to?
I'm good. I'm
or what
fine.
have you been up to?
I woke up and I'm like, this is another day to show how desperate I am for money by going to the office.
Yesterday that I was feeling like that. I was like, what am I looking for?
Wait, so are you in this for the money or the passion?
Honey, you need money to fund
you need
your
to
passion.
make money to fund
Stop
passion.
it.
What are you saying?
I'm here for the passion. What's money? What do I need the money for?
Don't worry.
I will tell management. I will.
And on the day that I'm going to use this word against you, it's coming
very soon.
But I'm glad to have you guys on the table. We're about to have a wonderful conversation today, still on education. I mean, from Abia State to Imo State to all the states and their education policy, Gombe isn't left out, and they have an amazing policy that they would be launching very soon. But we'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll look through the papers this morning because we have amazing, interesting headlines as well. You do not want to miss any aspect of this segment. Stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back, our valued viewers. What are your thoughts on these historical milestones? Today in history is not displayed for just displaying. It's for you to actually learn what happens in history. I'd love to hear your insight and perspectives. Remember, you are the main ingredient in all of our conversations, and we'd love to hear your thoughts as well. Our phone lines are open. Please call us on 0702-5007-749 or 0701-424-2420. And if you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, it is at Official Upgrade TV. Go now, click the subscribe button, like, share the link, especially this show, to your family and friends so they can be part of what happens here. Now, let's start with the papers for this morning. We have The Nation, The Daily Trust, and The Punch newspaper. And Chioma will be leading us with The Nation.
Okay, so let's look at the news making headlines in the nation's newspapers. First, we have House pushes for state police, council, autonomy, and others. The next one, oil, agri industries drive GDP's 4.23 growth. I mean, that's a good one. El Rufai's life president's claim absurd, says presidency. Find us on page 2. Also, court fixes Monday to hear case on withheld Osun Council fund. Find that on page 5. And to my story of interest, because the nation does not have a lot of stories on their front page due to their goodwill message and all that. But to my story of interest, Fubara says, I've made peace with Wike. River State is very dear to my heart because I spent 10 years of my life there. So I feel like that's my home. Okay, and so I'm very interested in what happens there. But, the 6 months suspension was lifted, and Fubara was supposed to resume on the 18th of this month, even though he didn't show up until the 19th, right? And there was celebration, everybody was happy, the president and the governor was back. And I think just yesterday he had a meeting with Tinubu, closed door meeting. And after that meeting, he said, he just went to, admonish me on how to run the affairs of River State, yada, yada, yada. But now, the part he said he has made peace with Wike is very interesting to note. And then, I don't know, I feel for some reason somebody should clarify. He keeps saying, my leader. My leader. I understand that's a senior in politics and all of that. But, come on, you're not... There's this loyalty thing I'm seeing there.
It's normal. That psychophancy thing happens in politics.
It irks me. I mean, I feel very...
It shouldn't irk you, my dear, because that's how they move forward.
It's really sad. Now you're acknowledging him as your leader. This is the same you that said, nobody owns River State. Did you see all his press releases and all his, what's it called, briefings? Nobody owns River State, not Wike, not this person. We're here to take back our state, and just 6 months that they gave you have...
Okay, so you're thinking that maybe something has happened in the past 6 months. Obviously, something would have happened. A lot would have happened.
Yes, a lot.
You know what I'm going to say to public elected leaders? I think they need to really lay low on this psychophancy thing. There's a lot of excitement that causes them to say certain things and they do not mean it.
Yes.
If you're going to be someone in front of the people, you hold that authority and power, your words need to have a lot of integrity.
Oh my goodness.
If you are for somewhere, be for somewhere. Because that's why many times I just look at all these politicians like, people are just playing a game for us to watch, to laugh, probably to be fooled as well.
Meanwhile, behind the closed doors, a lot is also happening.
It really makes me wonder if these people are even worth voting for. I mean, 2027 is coming again. We're being told, get your PVCs, go and register, make your vote count. We talked about INEC yesterday, BVAS, IREV, getting working. All of these things, at the end of the day, somebody will come from somewhere and say, my leader. Come on.
And the moment you're saying that, you are even accepting the fact that whatever it is that might have happened, in closed door between you people, then it must have happened. So if you're coming out to say that, okay, Wike is this, Wike is that, that means that this person, because if you're calling me your leader, then that means you're following me.
They've shown you power. They have flexed their muscle.
Anyway, that's so right with the details.
Anyway, that's all I have, yes.
Let's see what has.
Let's look at the front page of the Daily Trust. Just like the front page of your papers, this one also has just very few stories. So the first one that is making headlines that I'm also going to talk about is Women's Seat Bill gains ground. That's in the parliament. And DSS interrogates Malami over attack on his convoy. FCTA clears kidnappers hideout in Abuja. Dembele Bomati crowned at 2025 Ballon d'Or Awards. And to this last, the last very sad story, Benue attack, corpses of 8 missing policemen recovered. Now, that's a very sad story, where it's very, very sad. So let us just quickly move to my story of interest as regards the women's seats actually gaining ground, the bill. Now, they have come out to say that the push for special seats for women in the National and State Assemblies gained momentum yesterday at a national public hearing on the review of the 1999 Constitution organized by the House of Representatives Committee on Constitution Review. Now, they've decided to express their support as regards this bill. You remember that they were, out for protest, like the women were out for protest, seeking the fact that they wanted more seats in the parliament. And now they've said that, they are going to be adding to it. I think they said they have like five more, that was added to the seats that were available to them. Now, as much as, okay, they're saying today women owed less than 5% of the seats, but they're actually open to creating additional seats for women in the National Assembly and State of Assembly. I mean, this is a beautiful one for women. The fact that we get to, hold on. Let me
don't come with an initiative that is not
wait.
How does congratulations is a beautiful one? I don't want to hear it this morning.
No, let's have finish.
Let me just land. I mean, let's say it's a beautiful one for women. I mean, people that are listening now, the people that were actually out on the street for the protest and all of that, they are going to feel like this is a beautiful one. However, I feel like the game of politics, whether women or men, is still the same game of politics that everybody is playing at the end of the day. And which brings me to really think about the fact that, are we actually going to be hearing, is there going to be power to women's voices at the end of the day? And is it not going to be that you are going to be bringing to the table, sentiments, biases, and all of that? Because that is what that's the point that, I'm coming to, that even if you are saying that, because I'm sure that even the seats, the extra seats that they said that they are giving to women, it's not like it's the old seats. Well, if we say that we are asking for the old seats, they are going to say that why are we demanding the old seats? But the fact that they are doing that, I am thinking that are they still going to be able to, what are they going to do? What is this initiative? How is it going to actually help the women? So fingers crossed, and let's see it.
Listen, guys. This is where I identify as a feminist. It is in cases like this, because it's more like you're giving the women handouts, right? I feel like let's play fair, Let's play fair. Women, stop sitting in one corner and say, oh, give us, and they hand it down to you. Fight fair. Let there be equality. If they said the tier, what's it called now, the form, for instance, is 50 million, I don't see a reason they should give a woman a discount. Fight for the same amount. If a man is paying 50 million, you should pay 50 million, because you're not going there and then maybe they'll give you an advantage. Okay, because you're a woman, we're going to reduce your responsibility. No, it's going to be the same thing you're going to do, right? So I don't even see, you say it's a step in the right direction. It's okay, but then this is not something we should be talking about. This is leadership. It doesn't matter what, male or female. It is leadership.
You know why? Pardon me.
Yeah.
This is something we actually need to talk about, because we are in a country where, not even just our country, let's not make it a Nigerian thing. We see it across different West African countries. I think there are just few African countries in that sense that have women at the helm of affairs when it comes to politics. And in Nigeria and some other African countries, we don't see it happen. So it's good that we're talking about this. But the only problem I have about conversations like this is that I haven't seen any headway for too long. A few months ago, we had something similar to this, where they were clamoring for more seats on the table for women. It's just clamor and clamor. I know there's this thing with fuzz and buzz where people just get, oh, yes, we're going to do it. We like the awareness. But it doesn't really come to fruition. So that's why I'm like, this is a beautiful story, but that fingers crossed is really tight. Yeah. Because I want to see it play out eventually. Let's even see it from all levels. Do you understand? Yeah. From not just the parliament at this point, but even states, governorships. Do you understand? Local areas. Let us see how women are penetrating into this space, so that we know that even when it starts to climb, we are assured that this will actually come to life. So beyond this sensation, I know that anytime women clamor for something and go with all the whole protest, I want this, people get emotional. But beyond emotionalism, we really need to see sentiments. Exactly. We need to see this actually work out. And I don't know the medium through which they want to perform this, because I feel everything is just performative. Everything right now is geared towards 2027. Everything is looking like some people have sat down to create a blueprint of what should be sensational on the media. So everything I'm looking at is performative until I see real results before I'll say it's a beautiful one.
And to think about the fact that aside even giving them the opportunity for the seats, do you know that it is also like a different thing for them to, get your equal opportunity to contest? You know what it takes for a woman to be able to even gather people to actually believe in her.
So it's like, okay, you want the seat, you're on the seat, but you're a figurehead.
But you're just a figurehead. So it's beyond.
Natasha is your typical
honestly
example. It's one thing to get into that place and have a seat. It's another thing for them to
have a
allow
voice,
you
to have a voice. That's the word.
That's what it is.
because it's a different thing.
That's what it is. We need to move beyond this woman's places in the kitchen, all of those narratives in our heads. Let's focus for the good of Nigeria, really.
Very true. Let's see what the Punch has to say. Punch has really sad stories. I got to hear of one yesterday, and of course, the Punch highlighted it. I'll let you all know what it says. Let's start with the headline that says, flood disaster, states intensify action as 232 die, 121,000 displaced. We also see a NEMA list, Niger, Adamawa, Lagos, among worst hit states in 2025 as farmlands and homes destroyed. Of course, above that, we see Olubadan. La Doja coronation rite begins with prayers. Fubara consults Tinubu on rivers peace sustenance. NBS announces 4.23% economic growth. Labour differs. And of course, we have story on the Zenith Bank and other advertisement in that sense. So yeah, let's talk about this flood story, but not very intensely, because I don't want to be one who highlights sad stories every time. I mean, it's not good for my mental health at this point, but it's the job to also highlight this. We've seen the torrential downpour, especially in Lagos. Let's even say we're not the ones that travel, so we don't know what happened in other states, but we've seen what happened in Lagos. Every time I look at the weather forecast, I'm seeing 75-degree heavy thunder. I'm like, what's going on? And of course, this is causing a lot of terrible impacts to people who have things to take care of and the flood and all of that. But then another story caught my interest. This one actually goes home because it's from my school, the school I graduated from. A student recently died in University of Lagos, and this student is one who was just elected into the Faculty of Education. I didn't know the cause of the death, so I just saw people posting on their status that, oh my God, why did he die? Like, this is just strange. You were just elected. We're waiting for you to do great things in the faculty. But going by how he died, that is really, it's so sad. He said that he was swept away by ocean currents at a beach in Ibeju, Lekki. You know, people, why I'm bringing up this story is we should really know how to honor the dead. I think that is something that Nigerians have not really gotten, especially younger people. So because this kind of story can cause you to be analytical in the sense that you want to bring either spiritual implications, that, oh, maybe somebody fought, somebody didn't want him. I understand that we cannot totally evade that or remove that from the possibilities, but there's something such as honoring the dead, because if you check, if you've heard of stories that went around concerning this particular case, you hear some really terrible stuff, some even stating the wrong cause of death. I feel like when tragic things like this happen, you need to consider the family, because at the end of the day, you are just making, you are being sensational. I've used that word like 1,000 times today about the whole case, but the family are not. They are grieving and mourning their son. So I think this is just a call to people who do not know how to honor, you know, the memory of the dead. This is a tragic news that has happened, and it could have happened to anyone. But, you know, we're always grateful and always privileged to be able to live another day. The fact that you are able to live another day is a privilege. It's not for you to say, there's this thing people do. They'll say, some slept last night, did not wake up. I understand that we want to be grateful, but you should also know that you are privileged to wake up the next day. It's not because those ones that did not wake up did not deserve life. Do you understand? So it goes home to how we honor the memory of people who've lost their life. And I'm sure this is a very sad one for the Faculty of Education, my faculty, apparently. And I know that, you know, moving forward, we'll be able to honor his memory, and of course, the faculty will move forward. That's all I have. Sad story, I'm sorry, but that's what the Punch has for us. We have interesting details, like I said, on Gombe's new policy on education. You really want to hear it. You don't want to miss this one. So I'm not going to give you teasers. We're going to take this short break. When we come back, my ladies and I will dissect the topic. Let's stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back, our dearest viewers. Today's topic has been titled Education by Force. Is compulsory schooling the right approach in Gombe? Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world, and this is a quote from Nelson Mandela. But what happens when parents refuse or neglect to send their children to school? In Gombe State, the government is taking a hardline stance. At the launch of the 2025-2026 school enrollment campaign, the chairman of Superb, Babadidi announced that parents who fail to enroll their children in school could face fines or even jail terms of up to 2 months. This enforcement is backed by the Superb Amendment Law of 2021. The message is clear. Every child must be in school. Supporters of this move argue that compulsory education is the only way to secure a better future for children, to reduce illiteracy and also break cycles of poverty. On the other hand, critics raise concerns about whether punishment is the right way to achieve this goal. They question the realities of poverty, of cultural norms, of child labor, and whether the state is truly ready to provide the quality education that it promises. So the big question for us today is this: education by force. Is compulsory schooling the right approach in Gombe? And of course, I'll be having this discussion with my ladies. How do you feel?
Story when you said it,
yeah.
I laughed.
That's why I first asked, how do you feel? Because I really want to know your initial reaction to the story.
But I'm not in the north.
Yes.
I know that somewhere like Lagos, there will be more people who are able to afford certain things, you know, the basic education.
That's a heavy assumption.
Compared to the north, or just older, okay. Right? So, but seeing, I mean, there are certain things that I have experienced. I get to question lots of things when I see them. While growing up, the environment that I grew up in, I see lots of mothers. They can give birth to like 5 children, 6 children, 7 children, with no ability to actually take care of these children beyond basic education, even feeding. And then it brings me to question that, why are you having that number of children? Unfortunately, these are questions that nobody can answer for me because I am not. Because I am wondering that why.
Let me tell you why. Do they have jobs?
You don't have.
They're home. They're bored. That's what they do.
That's a perspective I never thought of.
When you go to work and come home, you're exhausted.
So you won't be able to procreate. What of remote workers in Lagos?
I mean,
you're still working.
You're working, and then you can even afford, regardless.
Imagine the father and mother are remote workers.
I see them. 5 children. You cannot fund their feeding. In one room, in an apartment, and then I'm wondering that what's going on.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why I said that this topic is very interesting is that, for example, some of these people that are actually in my neighborhood where you cannot afford to take these children to school, when you see that, it would first start with the kind of kids that you're giving birth to, with the number of kids that you're giving birth to. Because you know that, I mean, I was looking at the law. For, you know, your first suspension, you get either you pay a fine or 1 month in prison. And then subsequently, then you get extra fine or double the fine and then 2 months. So that way, you have 5 kids, right? You are not able to pay 1 term. 2, that's 1 month. Okay. You're not able to pay 2 terms. That's 2 months. Now, calculate it for maybe like 5 children. So you already know that for the next 1 year, you see that food that you said you have at home, that you said you don't have a job, you are going to get a job inside the jail. So that's the perspective that I am coming with. Not to talk about the other perspective, but I feel like it's going to help some parents to actually think differently.
I love how you have set the context for us. You started by mentioning how that Gombe State, and even the northern region, I mean in Nigeria, this is something that they suffer a lot. We see a lot of out-of-school children. I think there was this figure recently that UNICEF, is it UNICEF that brought it out? They said we have over 10 million let me be sure. Yes, UNICEF, over 10 million out-of-school children in Nigeria. And these figures just make you sometimes wonder, pause, think about your life, think about the privilege that you have, think about how backwards your nation is, think about what you can really do, think about how these SDG goals are even being implemented across private and public sector. Just think about a lot of things. And after you're done thinking, then you take a deep breath and be like, God, where are we going to next? But thank you for setting the tone. I'd like to know if Chioma shares the same perspective as regards the context to this conversation. Do you think that, why do you think Gombe is implementing such a thing at this point?
Well, you spoke about the number of out-of-school children we have, and I checked. According to state data, Gombe has over 700,000 children out of school. And that's
so are you saying that they have probably more, or they share a large percentage?
Yes, they are one of those that have the highest percentage of children out of school, and it's very worrisome. Okay, and yes, we talk about procreation, and you know how family planning is very important.
There was this thing that happened in one Asian country where they gave a rule: you can't have more than a child. Yeah. What if we have it in some areas in Nigeria?
Oh, you'll be the devil.
No, you. Okay.
You will be what?
Okay.
Children are the heritage of the Lord.
Heritage of God.
You don't know this
take
people.
Such
that's why
no,
that's really
that's where.
Yes.
First of all, I think we need to have a mindset shift. Yeah. In fact, I would like that law to be implemented. If you don't have, you should have a certain what's it called? Percentage of take home. Like we need to see your bank statement, how much you make in a month.
Okay.
Right? Because if you have more than 5 children, we need to check. Do you understand? It's just like...
What if we do that for marriage as well? Like in court, for all these court
that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Before you get married,
because
their bank statement.
No, they don't. Bank statement. They don't. They should.
Because why are you getting married?
No. I'm not against you. I don't know why we're moving this direction, but I'm not against you
I didn't plan for this perspective, but I like how we are bringing it out.
I'm not saying don't get married. Oh, please, by all means, love is beautiful.
No. Love is beautiful, but it becomes bitter when money didn't day.
Exactly. So maybe they can put it in the court marriage when you're getting married. How many children do you intend to have? You say 5. Okay, sir. May we see?
Yeah.
It's just like maybe when you want to move abroad. That's where your proof of funds.
Yeah.
Right? Because you need to show us that you can.
They do it in religious houses. They ask, I think for marriage counseling in churches, they ask about the financial capacity of
all those people do is
just asking now.
They do.
No.
Some places
they would ask you. But when the money is not up to what you should be, and you refuse to wed them, auntie, there's a pastor waiting to collect your money and wed you. So I think we have a very nonchalant attitude to this childbirth thing, because I don't see a reason you should birth kids you can't take care of. And that's why whenever I'm passing Awolowo Road in Ikoyi, I'm very pissed. You see children begging. Their parents are busy gisting. They're sitting somewhere gisting.
About 2
At some
3
point,
of them.
Anyone that follows us, where's your mommy? Go and meet your mommy. Sure, she have legs, she have hand. Do you understand? I'm working myself up, right? Trying to make a living for myself. Yeah. Do you think I can't afford to sit in my house and wait for a Prince Charming to come and swim me off? I'm working so my kids will not have to be in this position. Do you understand? So I feel like Gombe State right now, they feel like the soft approach doesn't work anymore, right? So they have to take the bull by the horn. And as much as this looks like a very harsh thing to do, I think it's also going to yield.
It's a right path or the right direction.
Yes, I think so.
You know, we have said beautiful things, and I love this perspective. I wasn't expecting that the family planning, part would come. Because when I was thinking about this topic, I had things I was going to, highlight, but I didn't really figure out the family planning. But if you look at the root cause of it,
that's what it
eventually it's just having children, multiplying the earth, being fruitful.
Oh, and it's even more in the north. They have the capacity to think about like 7 children.
They're very fertile.
they are, and
But there's an elephant in the room that we're not addressing.
Yeah.
We can't take away the fact that it seems, I don't want us to be so tough on these parents. I want us to have a balanced conversation. We've said, why would you have 10 children? You cannot take care of them. You deserve that 2 years imprisonment. But have we also thought about the fact that poverty is strikingly increasing in these areas?
Yes, I have.
You've thought about it.
Hence why you should not have more children.
But the point is that sometimes, have you figured out an instance where a certain family probably start having children, they think of the decision to have a family, and then things go south? right, economic hardship happens. Economical, not that I am lazy, not that I do not have a work, not that I don't have a farm that can produce yields for me to sell, export to other places, but things happen. Are we going to take away the fact that insecurity happens everywhere? Sometimes they have to move from one place to the other. So there's economic hardship that I'm wondering if the government at Gombe State considered before making such a heavy fine. Because this is not, the children will be taken from you. Yeah. This is punishment. Like, this is, I would say, lethal punishment in that sense. A punishment that is probably befitting for someone who stole. And this is, you are punishing me for not being able to care for my child. Do you understand how it sounds? So I'm wondering, do you think that this is really the best option that Gombe State could have considered, considering the fact that economic hardship hits us all?
I would say, yes, it's a harsh, what's it
Punishment.
Called? Punishment. And also, on the side of Gombe State, I understand that it's very sad to have over 700,000 children out of school. It's really a slap on your face.
Yes.
But I also feel like there should have been a balance. You know, give safety nets for these parents, right? Because, yes, poverty risk is a lot. A lot of people, like you rightly said, didn't plan to end up where they are.
They are, yes.
Right? So, you know, that punishment is not going to look like he's punishing the poor, victimizing the poor.
It's almost like you're poor and you're going to suffer for being poor.
Suffering for being poor. So I think some things he should or could, the governor now I'm talking about, or the government generally, some things they could put in place could be maybe have conditional transfer. Okay, you are in school, we're going to send some amount of money to you. More incentives, right? School feeding program, you know, all of these things. So you could put that side by side with this punishment. So it's now when after you have seen all these incentives, you still insist.
Yes.
Now, jail is your
I love how we're bringing that angle. Let me hear
Okay,
what
so, you know, one thing that I want to say, like I said, I'm still like, you know, standing on my ground. Because it's something that I have seen over time that I have questioned. And this is like somebody giving me an answer to what I can't do. So, but however, I think that the government, whilst saying this, they should also talk about the fact that the state of our education generally is poor. It's not good enough. There is a lot that the government can improve in. I think maybe last week or 2 weeks ago, we were talking about the fact that, you know, private school, the way, you know, they're spending money, the kind of
the past
tuition
few months
fees.
We've spoken a whole lot about education. The
We've
Minister
spoken a
of
lot.
Education needs to watch our show. So we have a lot of ideas. We have.
So there is so much, you know, talk about the amount. I mean, it is very easy to send a child to public school. Let's not even talk about, there's also the part of the fact that even some people are poor, but they could afford to send their kids to public school. However, that public school that they're sending, they're not even teaching them well. You know, the kind of teachers that are there are not even good enough to actually raise these children. There is that part too. So the Gombe state government really needs to focus on the fact that, I mean, the punishment is there. There is fine. You don't have to go to prison. But unfortunately, if you are poor, you will not be able to
pay the fine.
Pay the fine. But take care of the public schools, because now, if this law is going directly to people that cannot afford, that means if you're telling them that they should be able to afford, you're telling them that they might not have much, but you should still be able to send your kids to school. So that means that you're giving them the option of public schools.
Yes.
But if the state of the public schools is not standard enough, that brings another problem. Because if you get some children, you know, in public schools and then you talk to them, you see that, no, you're not going to school. It's even better if you stay at home.
Stay home.
So I think the Gombe state government, while still leaving this, because I don't think they should remove it. They shouldn't.
You people really like this option. You like parents to be in prison.
You have the option of fine, really. You have the option of fine. Now I am saying this, you know, the people that have kids already, they will be affected. They have lots of kids already. They don't have an option. But that way, you will know that you're not supposed to be sleeping at home. Oluchi, these people, some of these parents that we are talking about, they don't even bother. What they are interested in. Let me say the way they say it in Yoruba. Kashati jẹun. You're the one that wants let's be able to eat. That's all they are interested in. That let us be able to eat. You're the one that wants to chase passion. These people are not interested in passion. These people are not interested in all these things. So I think that it gives people the consciousness. However, the government really needs to do a lot with the state of education in there.
You both said beautiful things. I have a lot of things to say. Before we go on a short break, I will say it this way, that Gombe government is standing on this threshold of we want education in our state. We want people to be educated. But if you look at it, it's almost like you're waving your hand, but you're also waving back at yourself. It's still a slap on your face as a government that your out-of-school children are getting to that amount. Yes, it now looks like a beautiful initiative to get these people back in school. But like you have mentioned, what are the options available? The public... Because do you know that there is no citizen in this country that should suffer for the basic needs that the government ought to provide? And one of the basic needs, housing, shelter, food. Let's even take away that one. Education.
Primary, secondary.
Primary education is very basic, and no one should have to suffer for that. But like you have mentioned, some people are in this public-owned institutions by the government, primary education, programs, and it's not looking like it. Let's even imagine that, they're not supposed to pay money, but they will come to this school. Many times, if you really look at some of these public school students, yes, they don't pay school fees or uniforms or even books, but probably the distance to even get to that public school is very far. And the parents will be like, we don't have transport for you. Can you imagine a child having to trek distance to get to a school? How many public schools do we find in some localities? Do you understand that can cater for all of the students?
And then 80% are always flooded.
Imagine.
They're always flooded. Imagine. And then there's risk of life, security tension everywhere.
We're going to really uncover all of this, but we need to take a short break so that we can breathe in and out. And of course, we need our viewers as well to comment on what they think about this policy in Gombe State. Stay with us, we'll be right back. All right, welcome back, valued viewers, to another episode on Ways Breakfast this morning. Of course, we're talking today again about the education state in Gombe State, the new policy of fine and imprisonment for parents who refuse to send their children to school. Our conversation has been really balanced this morning because we've looked at different angles, at parents who just have children and they can't cater for them on purpose, and then, of course, the government's role to providing basic education to citizens in their care. But now I want us to talk about something that you mentioned behind the scene, and that's on the mindset thing of parents. So I did this, will I say it is study, but it's just like an observation. If you notice in the northern areas, the value they have on Western education is very minimal, in the sense that they prefer Quranic education in that sense, right? They prefer to send their children to Muslim, I don't really know the name, but Arabic schools, just go learn is it Tabligh? Please pardon me, I'm not Muslim. But, it's as if they put a lot of emphasis or a lot of appreciation more on Quranic education as regards to the Western education. That's why if we check the margin, sometimes it seems as though the most educated persons in Nigeria are either from the West or the East. I think there was this thing my dad told me one time. He said, the truth is they're precious, eh? The most intelligent people or the people that are well educated in our country. I don't know where he got his data from. He said they are the Yoruba people. And I said, do you remember there was one time that there was free education in the West? There was this governor, this president on seat then that made free education possible for people in the West, Ondo, Ogun. So I was like, but you see, Easterners, we were just looking for money to do business, to do boy.
That's why Yorubas actually look at the Eastern people to, learn from.
So we cannot deny such disparities in that sense. And it looks like there's a lot of strain in the North. So instead of seeing people go to school, we either see them go for Quranic classes, take the Quranic education, or we see some of them marry off quickly. There was this bill I saw that was signed recently, something about, I don't think it's Nigeria, it was in one of these Western countries, about early child marriage or so. And people were rejoicing that finally there's a ban on it. And somebody was asking, we're still talking about this.
I'm telling you, in 2025.
We're still talking about this, but we cannot take away the fact that it still happens in our nation, in the North.
Yeah.
There's an alhaji that is waiting to marry a 15-year-old. I'm speaking by prophecy. in
reality.
State, there's an alhaji, you are listening to me right now. You want to marry a 15-year-old because you have seen that she's very curvy, but it happens, away from all of that. So there's a lot of emphasis on other means to be a person of value in the society beyond education. So you spoke about mindset shift, and I'd love us to elaborate on that.
Yeah, so I said, as much as the North seemed to be a place, a region where education is not so valued, I dare say.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, right? But still in the North, if you see educated people in the North,
we love them.
Dear Lord. They are so smart.
Yes.
Right? And then, when you compare, you see there's a gap. The people that know really go for it and they do really well in it. Then the people that don't know are just there, not seeing a reason to. So I was saying, it's one thing for Gombe State to take, all those drastic measures, but it would look like wickedness and inconsideration to the poor. Now, poor, not just poor in resources, but poor in the mindset.
Yes.
Do you understand? Because I'm pretty sure there are people that are rich, farmlands and all, but don't see a reason to send their kids to school, right? Because their mind hasn't been conditioned that way, okay? And then, so it goes beyond putting together all these drastic measures. Okay, if you come to school, I will give you money. If you come to school, I will give you feed. You realize that even with these incentives, some of them will start coming to school for that reason. In fact, some people, teenagers can be very tricky.
Yes.
They will come to school towards the time you're going to share the food. And then they will collect it and they're off, right? You're missing the whole idea. So while you're putting in place these incentives, I also think you should balance it out with a mindset shift.
All right, Chuma, thank you very much. Let's see
thank you for that. So, as much as there's one thing that I really love about the Northerners, and is the fact that they are the ones that actually embraces their culture the most.
Oh, they do.
They do it wholeheartedly. They prefer to, embrace every part than even bring in Western culture, Western education to them. Like you mentioned, the Quranic education and all of that, which is a great one, right? Is a very great one. So, and that has also, in a way, I don't want to use the word affected their mindsets, because I think the fact that you are able to embrace your culture, you're able to embrace everything about, your tradition and all of that, I think is a great one. But how that made their mindset different is that they are not able to think about Western education. And do not forget that when it comes to the state of you competing like on global stage, or even on like global stage, Nigerian stage, let's not even go out of the country, you would need Western education.
Yeah.
The best you might be able to do is to, have a farmland, be able to farm, be able to go to the market, or at most after a while, you decide to come to Lagos, and then it is when you now get to Lagos that reality will now eat you, that the best thing you can be is to be an aboki.
Does it eat them?
It does eat some of them, but few of them.
Plan for it.
Yeah.
They come to Lagos to open a kiosk. Sometimes their brother tells them, I'm coming to Kano. Come to Lagos,
honestly,
come and stay in my shop. So
they don't
it's
mind.
a plan.
I mean, I was traveling with a Northerner one day. I think he was traveling from, I can't remember the states, maybe Kano or thereabout, and then he was traveling down to Kwara State, and then he has been traveling for days. So I met him inside the bus. I think I was traveling from Lagos to Kwara State, and then he was still telling me that he wants to get married to me. So I was like,
oh my,
you're coming all the way from Kano. You're going to Kwara State for
Love
days.
knows no boundaries.
He has wives, and he wants to act my
And then I was asking that, okay, what are you doing? You know, what's the business that you're going to do?
Let me know if I will not start.
What's going on? Maybe I would eventually go with, an announcer man or something like that, so that I don't close my opportunity, like Mr. Jimmy will say. So, but by the time he started talking, he said he's doing, what's it called, in Kwara State. You know, all these iron benders.
Oh, my Lord.
And all of that.
Blacksmith.
Is a...
He's
the fact that he gave me the wordsmith. And then I am wondering, he had money. I think he even bought a water for me. They usually have the.
Hold on.
There's also this part.
You are taking this conversation to what I don't like right now.
However, you can imagine somebody like me. I know the kind of future I want. I know the kind of kids that I want. I know.
You don't want kids with curly hair. I mean, the Fulani people have really.
This one does not look like there's curly hair.
Can we come back to Gombe?
So there's a whole lot of things.
Yeah.
And then you're coming all the way to come and work. You see them. I mean, the mindset is different.
Yeah.
You really see a trailer that is filled with people inside. And these people are maybe like from other, it is usually northerners.
Yeah.
They are traveling from one place to the other. So I think there is a need for a mindset thing. As much as you feel like, okay, in your state, you might be a great person. But if you are great in your state, if you get to another place, you might have to stand to be a competition.
Yes.
So if they can't accept that mindset first, some of them don't believe in education. They don't think they need education. Because let's not also forget that in the north, if you're actually a northerner, you can actually make a whole lot of money without having to go to school.
Yes.
You people have mentioned really great things, and I like how we didn't throw away the balance area of this conversation, because there are many things to look at it. When you see policies come up amongst all the states, we've applauded some that happened in some states, we've criticized some, and I think Gombe on just puts us at that middle ground. We really need to look at the implications all around, and you guys, my ladies, have done justice to it. But I'm trying, after the show, I want to really talk to you about how we can connect with that.
No way.
Yes,
we are not doing that.
We need to talk about that. You need to.
We are not doing that.
But coming back to the conversation of mindset, you know, there's this thing about balance. The fact that the people in the north are people who treasure their cultural heritage, let's not take it away. Let's not throw it away because of Western education.
Yeah.
But let's start looking at balancing it together. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
That means that even in some of this Quranic education, if we have parents that are keen on, I want my child to go to the Quranic school, the parents, they're the ones who give birth to the child. They probably have some decision to make in that sense. What if we start having some inclusion, some Western education style in it as well, where they're also learning the Quranic stuff? I know there are some schools in Lagos that are Islamic schools. I mean, even federal-owned school, that I'm not really sure about that particular stuff, but there are schools that is Muslim people that are there. So we can have a blend of both, rather than just say that, you're not going to be going to any conventional Western school or Montessori, as you call it, British school. You're going to stay in this Quranic school and learn. I think if we have a balance, it will be fine. Yeah. But this balance can't happen if you do not address people's mind. We are a nation that we can, in some places, we see people rich in resources, allegedly now, but then they are poor in their minds. So Gombe State, are they looking at orientation programs for parents? I know probably private-owned institutions are the ones who do this. Sometimes NGOs that travel for, different tour visitations, different people, because I know people are not folding their hands when it comes to looking at way forward for the nation. I want to believe that, because I'm not folding my hands as well. There are things and initiatives I have in my head. Some I already started because I want to see how to even contribute to this society that I'm always pointing out their errors. So I want to believe that this is also happening in people's hearts as well, in parastatals, in private and public-owned institutions. But if we can now see it stretched even further, where we have programs, orientation services for these people in the north. People think that orientation services or programs are a bit overblown, but they are not. They are not at all. You really cannot you can't overstretch talking about something for too long. You can't overstretch it. One way or the other, it rests on their heart and changes begin to happen. So I'm also sure that it is not so very advanced over there. In Lagos, if you just pass this Lekki, Mara, go to the mainland, there are a lot of conferences happening. I mean, over the last week, we saw a lot of mindset shifts for different people, for leaders, for students.
This morning, you see like 5.
Exactly. Do we have it happening over there?
But you see, for me, I would say it wouldn't just happen. Like you said, it might take a little while for them to accept if the government come and organize something, right? But now, I think a better way it can happen is community engagement.
Yeah.
So you're going to engage the traditional leaders, this Islamic leaders, the church leaders. So that way you can talk to them once they see reasons, because you know these people listen to them. Right? Also, there could be an infusion like you've talked about, right? So these Western schools, how about we add this Arabic things
to it as well?
Yeah.
Recently, I think there are new subjects to introduce to secondary schools. I think I even saw journalism as part of it. So we can add the Quranic education, not just Islamic studies, because there's the IRS part of it.
No, not that.
That one is not as intense as what happens for the
that
Quranic
Arabic thing that makes these people go to their Almajiri schools. Put it in the Western, let it be a course you choose to offer. You know how we have science and art here. So let it be one of the courses you can choose to offer.
I'm looking at the possibilities of that. Can we really handle everything?
And then penetrate them, because
you
one
can
interesting thing
by
about
their
the
leaders in their mosque and all that, right? So, like I said, once these leaders buy the idea, leave it to them. They know how to sell it to the parents.
Now, coming from what you just mentioned, one thing about the Northerners is that they really, really frown at you doing things that is against what they want, against their belief, against what they've always known. So the best way to actually, I mean, the orientation is great, but actually orientating the leaders.
Because so we should start from the leaders before we expand.
They can also expand. They can be doing that, together. They can be doing that simultaneously. But take enough time to actually reorientate these people, because these people, it is whatever they say that their followers is going to like. The Northerners believe so much, they hold on so much to their belief. Because now, I mean, I grew up in Ilorin, and Ilorin is like North Central. You have a lot of Muslims and Northerners there. Not a lot of Northerners, but
you find some of them.
So in my area, for example, I mean, in that area, we are like maybe the Christians there, maybe just 2, 3 or thereabout, and then you have lots of Muslims. Now, one thing that they do is that they have schools. They have schools that, they call it like, an Islamic school. So it's a normal school. It runs, the normal studies and all of that. And then they now also have, the Islamic agenda. I don't know what to call it, the table, whatever it is that you're using. And then as they're having, as they're having the normal graduation, the other ones, they have these ones that they do. I think they call it, I've forgotten the names that they call it. So they can have that. That way, it will help them to be able to penetrate those communities.
Thank you so much, my ladies. This has been a very interesting discourse. And going back to the origin of this conversation, Gombe State's new policy to imprison parents who fail to take their children to school. I can't ask this question, but I'm also throwing it as a question to people listening to us. How exactly will this be effected? Because you can still have the same parents that you think are oblivious, bypass this process, and they won't go to prison, they won't pay that fine, their children won't go to school, and the government may not find out. So that also leaves me with a dilemma, like how would this be done exactly? But it's been a very interesting conversation. And at the heart of this is a balance between duty and compassion. Yes, every child deserves the gift of education, but must it come through punishment? That's what I've been asking Triumph. As Gombe State takes this bold step, the real test will not just be in jailing defaulting parents, but in ensuring that schools are truly places of opportunity and not just obligation. Perhaps the real success will come when parents send their children to school, not out of fear of the law, but out of faith in the future that it promises. And this is where we wrap up today's conversation. Thank you for joining us. I will see you again when I see you again. If you know, you know.